They choreographed 18 years of my life. Today I found the script. The manila folder sat between us at the kitchen table, thick as a phone book and labeled Project Maya. My mother's hands trembled as she pushed it toward me, while my father stood by the window, unable to meet my eyes. "We need to tell you something," Mom whispered. I opened the folder. Inside were hundreds of pages, charts, timelines, psychological evaluations, and something that made my blood freeze. A script. An actual script with dialogue, stage directions, and character notes. The main character was named Maya. That was me. Page 1 started with my first day of kindergarten. There were notes in my mother's handwriting. "Mrs. Peterson will suggest Maya try violin. Decline. Piano only, as planned." I flipped through more pages. My best friend Sophie's name appeared with a note. "Approved friendship. Family values align." What is this? My voice came out strangled. "We wanted the best for you." Dad finally spoke. "Every successful person has a plan. We just started yours early." I kept reading, my hands shaking now too. There were records of conversations with my teachers, bribes to ensure I got certain roles in school plays, even a detailed breakdown of why they moved neighborhoods when I was 12. Current friend group showing negative influence, relocation necessary. The soccer coach I adored in middle school, they paid him to give me extra attention and build my confidence. The boy who bullied me in 7th grade, his parents received an anonymous tip about his cheating ring, getting him expelled. Every struggle I overcame, every triumph I celebrated, had been orchestrated. "You interviewed my boyfriends?" I found a section titled Romantic Interests, with background checks and compatibility scores. "We needed to ensure they were suitable," Mom said. "Remember Josh? We discovered his family had bankruptcy issues. That's why we suddenly needed to visit Grandma that weekend you were supposed to meet his parents." Josh had texted me that whole weekend, confused why I disappeared. We broke up shortly after. I thought he'd lost interest. The further I read, the more intricate it became. They had befriended other parents to control my social circle. They'd submitted essays to competitions under my name, winning scholarships I thought I'd earned. The internship I was so proud of getting, my father's golf buddy owed him a favor. The college counselor said my essay about overcoming stage fright was one of the best she'd ever read. I said numbly. "We hired a ghostwriter," Mom admitted. "You were never afraid of stages. We needed a compelling narrative." I reached the final section, ages 18 to 25, university and career launch. They had already chosen my major, selected my roommate for next year, and identified 3 acceptable career paths. There was even a list of potential husbands from good families, with notes about when and how we should meet. "You're both psychologists," I said, the irony burning. "You experimented on your own daughter?" "We applied proven developmental theories," Dad said defensively. "Look how well you turned out. Valedictorian, full scholarship, confident, talented. Am I? Or is that just who you programmed me to be?" I stood up, the chair scraping against tile. "My piano recitals, did I actually want to play?" "You showed aptitude," Mom said carefully. "That's not what I asked." Silence. "My fear of water? The one thing you couldn't fix?" Dad shifted uncomfortably. "An unplanned variable. You fell into a pool at age 3 during a party we hadn't accounted for. So the only real thing about me is trauma?" I grabbed the folder and walked to my room, locking the door behind me. For hours, I read every page, seeing my entire life rewritten as fiction. The girl I thought I was had never existed. 3 days later, I made my decision. I sat them down in the same kitchen, my own folder in hand. "I've withdrawn from Berkeley," I announced. "I've enrolled in culinary school instead." Mom gasped. "Culinary school? That's not in the plan." "Exactly." I opened my folder, showing them apartment listings in Portland, loan applications, and a legal document. "I'm also changing my last name. Not legally, just professionally. I'll be Maya Winters, not Maya Rothstein." "This is ridiculous." Dad stood up. "You're throwing away everything we built." "Everything you built," I corrected. "I'm keeping the skills but rejecting the script. And there's more." I pulled out my laptop, showing them a blog I'd created, raised by Blueprint. "I've written about everything. The folder, the manipulation, all of it. I haven't published anything yet." Mom went pale. "You wouldn't. Our careers, our reputation, depends on you. I want complete freedom. No interference, no guidance, no accidentally bumping into people you hire to steer me. You get to tell people I'm following my dreams. I get to actually have dreams." "This is blackmail," Dad said. "No, it's negotiation. Something you never taught me because it wasn't in the script." They agreed. What choice did they have? It's been a year now. I burn food regularly, my apartment is a mess, and I'm dating someone they definitely never approve of. But when I laugh, it's real. When I fail, it's mine. When I succeed, I earn it.